Welcome to the online investigation session. Investigation session is highly related with searching the information related with the suspect or the subject of investigations through various methods and tools over the internet. And this will enhance your understanding of how to do a preliminary investigation as well as further proceed with your investigation. The objectives of this session are how to gather personal data about a suspect from a variety of online resources and list databases available to law enforcement to profile a subject and understand different types of online crime and how criminal investigations are actually conducted online and understand how to capture internet communications, video, images, and other content to add an investigative report. Working undercover is one of a term that most police or law enforcement personnel actually finds this interesting, and from a public perspective, it's also an interesting matter. There are a number of there are a number of online resources. Some of them are free, and some of them are paid premium services for creating a profile of a suspect or victim to investigate a crime. And large databases are regularly used by international, federal, state, and local agencies to gather data and share intelligence on general public. As more of our personal data, attitudes, communications, and general behaviors are captured through the internet, online reconnaissance has become extremely important. In the context of cybersecurity, reconnaissance is the practice of covertly discovering and collecting information about a system. In addition, the internet has facilitated the growth of certain types of criminal activities. Undercover investigations are the process used to acquire information without the individual or suspect knowing the true identity of the investigator. So hiding your actual profile is the preliminary step in undercover investigations. Prior to any interaction with a suspect, an investigator will perform reconnaissance on the individual. This background search involves building a profile of the suspect, following a background check of the suspect, surveillance of the suspect, and many other steps needs to be taken. Detectives may begin monitoring the suspect's residence, movements, and daily routine and generally build a profile of his behavior. Online investigations uh, help us see how detectives will record the suspect's aspect activities, which can include video and audio, and decide whether any warrants needs to be requested. So basically, in an online investigation, there needs to be a background check, and surveillance activities should start after the background check. That includes the physical tracking of the suspects and online tools that should be utilized to collect information, and then we can start the formal investigation. Fake online persona created to interact with a person of interest is called sock puppet. The investigator need to create a Gmail or Yahoo account, and the verification process will require an established email account and telephone number. And Proton Mail or Tutan Auto will allow you to create disposable email accounts for verification. So when you are taking Proton Mail, it actually asks you to present to show your other email or an email address that you previously owned, but you can skip that. So you can create a new email address that's gonna help you to create a Gmail account to confirm that you already have another email address. One of the tools that an investigators can actually use is Mail to Tor, which is a Tor hidden service that allows anyone to send and receive emails anonymously, and it's produced independently from the Tor project. So keep in mind that never use these services with your own operating system. You need to have an investigation computer, or at least you need to have a virtual operating system that runs securely, and make sure you adjust the virtual operating system in a secure manner, and do not take cookies and or directly use your IP address to access to any of the resources, and try to be more protective in your investigations, especially for your own profile. Regarding SMS verifications, you can, especially for the new accounts, you can use text now to actually confirm a message received from a website that tries to confirm your identity. And Bitcoin, it's been actually a significant aspect of cybercrime investigations, and sometimes uh, law enforcement personnel also need to use Bitcoin in their investigations. And investigator will need to use Bitcoin in an investigation and ensure that the Bitcoin address is untraceable or close to being untraceable. Bitcoin laundry may be a good solution if approved by your department. A Bitcoin ATM is another option, and these ATMs can be located at Coin ATM Radar. And prepaid debit cards does not require that the purchased provide a name and address, and this is another option. And there's no need to go through a credit check either, using one vanilla. This Visa card then be linked to a PayPal account. In your investigation, you can, or you may consider using a VPN service, definitely a good choice. And also, there are a number of VPN services that you can use, such as NordVPN and RROX. And Tor browser with Tails operating system is also very useful, and actually leaves no trace, and you can get the advantage of having a portable operating system that protects surveillance and censorship when you are actually trying to investigate, as the people of the interest in the investigation may also try to track who is watching them, if they have highly advanced knowledge. So you should be prepared and make sure that you leave no trace that you are actually uh, creating a profile and using that profile for your investigation. And free online services allow the users to generate an ad hoc identity. And fake name generator is a service that's helpful to create a fake identity, and allows the user to actually select gender, name set, and country, credit card, and even social security number. So that's another choice where you can actually create a profile to help your investigations. This person doesn't exist is an other website that you may be able to use to create a picture for your investigation. And these pictures, none of these pictures actually exist, but they pretty much look like they are a live person, and they can be used in investigation if you need to actually show your picture, or show your picture in your profile. And this is important to make sure that the suspect believes in your profile. And generating an email account is important, and Gmail accounts are useful with undercover investigations, as Google obfuscates the originating IP address from the email headers. So the first thing that you need to do is obviously to masquerade your IP address, and Gmail is very helpful to do this. And gorillamail.com can help you to actually create an email address to actually give that email address when you are creating an email account through Gmail. And the email address created through gorilla.com will last in 60 minutes, and these types of email service provides detectives undercover services. Bluff My Call enables the user to change her caller ID to any number and disguise the person's voice, and record his calls. And Spoof Card is a similar service, which is also a popular one. Law enforcement can use a service called Leap to track criminals who try to evade investigation by switching their telephone numbers. It's also possible to find the carrier's name associated with the telephone number by performing reverse lookup with phonefinder.net. And this actually gives you an opportunity to find out if the person has been switching his phone numbers from one carrier to another carrier. Law enforcement requires a wiretap to record telephone conversations. And laws differ from state to state about whether a recorded telephone conversation can be admitted as evidence. For instance, in New York State, only one party is required to consent to being recorded, whereas in California, both parties must consent. In New York State, the interception of a telephone call without consent or permission from a judge is considered as eavesdropping, which is a felony. However, you may record a call with one party consent when that party is part of a conversation. In many other states, all parties must consent to being recorded. Many of the computers being used as proxies are being used without the consent of the users and part of the botnet. Therefore, these proxies and their service generally operate outside of the United States, especially in countries where the United States has little or no legal influence. You will see more proxies that are used by criminals or suspects. And you would also have to find a proxy server or service to actually do your investigation by masquerading your IP address. So tools the suspects use, and the tools the law enforcement personnel on the internet actually very similar. A tremendous source for finding open source intelligence is actually osintframework.com, and you can find a lot of tools and pathway to do an open source investigation. And this website is very helpful to actually broaden your investigation. And you may be able to find numerous tools as an investigator to collect web information. And this website help investigators search for the dark web pages as well. So this is one of the websites that you can attach yourself to actually enhance or advance your open source intelligence ability. It is hard to determine the identities of users online if they're using Tor. Once a user's computer has been seized, law enforcement can gather evidence about a user's activity on Tor. If the suspect's computer is turned on, then some Tor browser activity can be retrieved from RAM or from the Hyperfill SYS file, a file which is a copy of RAM. If the user used Tor with Tails, the task becomes more challenging. SecureDrop is an online and open source whistleblower submission system that media organizations can install to securely accept documents from anonymous sources. It's used at over 50 new organizations worldwide, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, PubliCa, the Globe and Mail, and the Intercept uses this secure drop to hide people's identity when they are actually transferring knowledge about the incidents happening in authoritarian regimes or any information valuable for actually uh, investigation by the journalists. Pastebin is a web application that allows users to upload and share text online. The most common use is for sharing source code or configuration information. There are thousands of pastebins online, often geared towards particular groups or focuses. Websites like Pastebin can be used to find the marketplaces. When you type in on your Google engine site pastebin.com or and blanks dot onion in quotation and hidden wiki as shown in the example, you will be able to find a lot of resources regarding Tor, and this might help you find new marketplaces, and the changes in the marketplaces can be actually retrieved by doing this type of a search. So in this example, what we want to do is to find websites, onion websites through the Pastebin, and let's type in, or which I actually already written this, and site pastebin.com onion hidden wiki. What this means is that there are numerous cryptocurrencies, and CoinMarketCap is a website that displays the market cap for cryptocurrencies. Not all virtual cryptocurrencies are cryptocurrencies. In fact, for example, Second Life, which is a virtual world, allows users to buy buildings and artwork from other users using Linden dollars. There are many other virtual payment systems such as WebMoney, Perfect Money, Yandex, and Solid Trust Pay. So the virtual currencies, the scope of the virtual currency is not limited with uh, with few types of cryptocurrencies. You need to be researching more about the virtual currencies as you are involved in cybercrime investigations. While there are many cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is the leading cryptocurrency that's known for by the public for many years. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which is a decentralized peer-to-peer virtual currency. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are not illegal in the United States. When a Bitcoin owner sends Bitcoin to another person, the currency is sent from a Bitcoin wallet to another person, to another Bitcoin wallet on a computer or on a smart device. A Bitcoin wallet stores a user's Bitcoin currency. So wallets are the focal point in actually in determining the actual currency movements. There are numerous Bitcoin wallets to choose from, and wallet can be encrypted and password protected. The wallet often uses 250 bits encryption with SHA with a public and private key. The public key is displayed on blockchain.info, and the wallet address is usually 34 alphanumeric characters in length. Payments can also be made using a QR code. Bitcoin mining is the process by which new Bitcoins are entered into circulation. It's also the way the network confirms new transactions and is a critical component of blockchain's ledgers, maintenance, and development. Miners solve a mathematical problem before forwarding the Bitcoin currency to the recipient. In return, the miner will receive a small percentage of Bitcoin for solving the algorithm. Bitcoin mining requires tremendous computing power, and corporations are now dealing with the issue of some miners using their networks to mine Bitcoin. A blockchain is a distributed database that's shared among the nodes of a computer network. As a database, a blockchain stores information electronically in digital format. An electronic public ledger keeps track of all Bitcoin transactions or blocks. Anyone can view these blocks in real time. However, determining who is responsible for each transaction is problematic without knowing the date and time of the transaction and knowing the identities of people. Bitcoin Tumbler is used to mix up Bitcoin transactions and make it ever harder to link Bitcoin to a specific transaction on the blockchain. Thus, Bitcoin is the currency of choice for criminals on dark web marketplaces. Many sellers operating on these marketplaces will convert the Bitcoin that they receive and quickly convert this cryptocurrency into another cryptocurrency like Monero or a Dash. There's a website that allows users to view a website at a particular point in history. At archive.org, the users can utilize the Wayback Machine utility to enter a URL and run a search to view historical snapshots of a website. So, from both perspective, whether you're investigating an information and you want to find information about the uh, website that's 6 months before, you can actually access to those information from the website's archive.org. And also, criminals from time to time, uh, or hackers from time to time use website archives to collect information when people mistakenly upload information such as critical information for the organization, and later on remove those information. But the hackers can actually collect those information by using the Wayback Machine utility by entering the URL of the website and retrieving the information. So this is another important website for investigators. Netcraft provide a range of comprehensive statistics about websites: their IP address, how long the website has been active, the mailing address for the domain owner, and the web service operating system, and many other information. This is also a useful website for both the investigators and also for the hackers, as they're easily taking a lot of information from the Netcraft websites without directly contacting or accessing the website. Here on this example, I actually ran the archive.org, and what you can see from this information is the site's title and site's URL address, and NetBlock owner is the Internet Archive, is actually the NetBlock owner, and the hosting company is actually also here. It's the Internet Archive, which itself is actually hosts the storage on their web servers, and you can also reach out to the IP address, and more information is also can be found by following the information such as the domain registrar and name server organization, who is .pri.org, and many information can be collected through the use of archive.org. A web host is an organization that sells or leases memory space on its servers. Web hosting is typically done in a data center, which provides services to clients that enable them to publish websites on the internet. A web host can also provide data center space and an internet connection for servers owned by others. The service provided by a web host is called as web hosting. And NetBlock data is actually an IP. NetBlock is a range of IP addresses that are owned by a specific data center or internet service provider. For example, 192.23.00 to 122.23.25 255 is an IP net block, and this IP range is actually uh, owned by the net block owner. Many websites provide basic information on individuals like their address and telephone number, but they also expect actually payment for their services, for actually considering their premium services in giving detailed information. So Zaba search is one of them, which you can find information about persons address and telephone number, and many other public information can be searched through the Zaba search website. Spokey allows people search by name, phone number, address, or email to confidentially look up information about the people actually, and it allows individuals to have their information removed from the site's search engine. And in addition, this site can help ascertain membership in social network sites. So this is a very useful website search information about people without directly trying to access to their information or website. Al-Qaeda has effectively used the internet and user groups in particular to share its message of hatred and recruit new members. Law enforcement frequently visits these groups to identify who they should be monitoring and ascertain whether there is any impending danger to the community. In 2011, it was claimed that 10,000 jihadist groups were using V-Bulletin, a group discussion platform. Jihadist groups and numerous right-wing paramilitary groups spread their propaganda across thousands of channels on Telegram. So Telegram has been a challenge for the law enforcement agencies as many terrorist groups try to spread their propaganda. Telegram is an application that allows users to communicate via the channel, and Telegram can also be used to directly message individuals. It has become extremely popular with extremist groups because of its strong encryption. The company doesn't facilitate law enforcement investigations, and its servers are claimed to be in Germany. Lead's online investigation solution is helping law enforcement find intelligence on people, property, and patterns to advance their cases. Internet Relay Chat (IRC) is a text-based chat system. The IRC protocol can be used maliciously to send commands to another computer, making it a zombie computer, and port 6667 is often associated with malware being sent to IRC users. So IRC has been a subject to many investigations as it relates with the spread of several types of malware. Extremely important and terrorists, palace, credit card thieves, and cyberbullies have all frequented in the chat rooms of IRC, and the investigators must act quickly because companies do not maintain their users' chat log very long time, and perhaps 7 days at most in many cases. So it's important for law enforcement agencies to be much quicker in cases where IRC or MIRC applications were used by the suspects. Forensic tools like FTK allow the user to search for instant messenger data, messenger chat logs on suspects' computer. And different instant messaging applications store user logs in different locations on a computer's registry, app data folders, program files, and also in documents and settings. Skype text messages are saved by default, and Skype files are not easily readable, and Skype files can be recognized by the DBB file extension when you run a search on your computer. And Skype Log View is a freeware application that can read Skype log files, and in Windows Vista and to the versions of Windows 2000 after 2008, the log files are stored under under these C documents and settings and profile name, app data, roaming, and Skype user. You can find the information with Skype log view and try to actually read the information. But these softwares are from time to time are not successful as the operating system or the application applications change the way they store the information, and you may not be able to always get information from those paths on your computer, as such applications uh, can easily become outdated. A Usenet is an online distributed discussion board that allows users to post messages and read postings. Usenets, sometimes called newsgroups, first appeared in 1980s and are similar to bulletin board systems and internet forums. Usenet groups are notorious for attracting pedophiles, political dissidents, terrorists, and others, because there is no central web server, and Bean Search is a website that can assist investigators in locating particular groups or suspects on Usenets. Google Groups allows users to search the archives of millions of Usenet postings over a number of years. So this is a great opportunity to collect past information about a given suspect. Al-Qaeda and Islamic State has successfully used blogs to recruit and motivate sympathetic individuals. For example, Samir Khan was a prolific radical blogger while he was a student at a community college in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was later killed, and along with actually Anwar al-Awlaki in Yemen. Photographs taken with certain cameras and also photographs taken with smartphones like an iPhone will contain a geotag if location services are enabled on the device. A geotag is digital image metadata containing the latitude and longitude of the geographic location where the picture was taken. Geolocation data can be associated with numerous applications, including Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Criminals also use geographic data to identify where individuals are located in order to stalk them or rob their homes. For example, a user posting tweets to Twitter or checking into locations with Facebook can make it simple for a criminal to learn the routine or the individual. Facebook has been used by identity theft criminals to profile their victims. Additionally, Facebook has been used by investigators to find and apprehend criminals on the lam, and even by victims who post photos of home invaders. Commercially, it's been used by the thieves and to target homes as a result of posting status updates like "I'm on vacation." Search warrant is needed to collect geolocation data on social media. So be sure that the search warrant is necessary to collect geolocation data from social media. AMBER stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, and was created as a legacy to 9-year-old Amber Hagerman, who was kidnapped while riding her bike in Arlington, Texas, and then brutally murdered. An organization called Wireless Amber Alerts enables users to sign up and assist with missing children. And the FBI also developed the Child ID app, and this is also very useful for those people, just in case their kids got lost. They can easily transfer the information about their child, and there's more information about how to protect your child and follow the guidelines when a case like that happens. Twitter enables users to tweet to show where they are and what they are doing. And Twitter search can be specific to a location. Follow.me details user connections, topics, and URLs, as well as the mode of posting tweets. LinkedIn is the business sort of database and information about a user's network of friends and professional colleagues can also be gleaned by searching the site. An investigator can also determine an individual's interests based upon their membership of the many professional groups and organizations available. A search on Twitter should be conducted through Google, as users can view who has viewed their profile. So one of the first thing to keep in mind that the investigator should not actually must not access to the suspect directly. BRB Publications provides detailed background information on individuals for a fee. The requested reports includes information like criminal offenses, bankruptcies, lands, and real estate records. So it's a very useful uh, database to collect background information. All of these actually occurs on the internet, and internet is the networks of networks, and each machine device has its own unique IP address. And when we call IP address, it's actually an internet protocol that provides a standard set of rules for sending and receiving data over the internet. An internet protocol address is a 32-bit number actually, and uniquely identifies a host on the internet using the internet protocol version IP4. Most IP addresses assigned today by internet service providers are dynamic IP addresses. It's more cost effective for both the ISP and its client. A dynamic IP address is an IP address assigned by an internet service provider each time one of its clients connects to the internet. So basically, when you connect to the internet, you always get an IP address. A static IP address is an IP address that an ISP assigns for a fixed period of time or permanently. Websites like webtoolhub.com allow you to enter an IP address in text format and convert it to its number value and vice versa. You can also check your IP address or others' IP address from the websites indicated on the slide to see their geographical information and ISP information from these websites can be collected. Internet is a very large structure, and the internet is actually an interconnected global network. An ISP or internet service provider is a company that provides its customers access to the internet and other web services. In addition to maintaining a direct line to the internet, the company usually maintains web servers. And internet service providers operate to facilitate the internet communication. With the development of smartphones, many cell phone providers are also ISPs. You can also check the ISP information from what's my IP address by entering the IP information from here to the box, and you can get the ISP information right here, the city where the IP or related with the computer actually located, and region and country information can also be received using what's my IP address. And you can also get more detailed services from whois domainstools.com. It'll give you more information, but it's actually a paid service. After you use this website a few times, then you're not going to be able to use it, and you'll get. But for law enforcement agencies, this is absolutely a good tool to work on the details of the IP address. Law enforcement's access to personal information has always been important for investigations. Uh, and for investigations, law enforcement utilize databases. A database is an organized collection of structured information or data, typically stored electronically in a computer system. A database is usually controlled by a database management system, which is called DBMS. Together, the data and the DBMS, along with the applications that are associated with them, are referred to as database system, often shortened to just database. So basically, you have an application on your computer, but it's actually connected to a database, and in that database there are maybe hundreds or thousands of tables that actually are similar to spreadsheets, but they're actually more competent to serve more than or multiple individuals. In many cases, it could reach out to thousands and even millions of people. So data within the most common types of databases in operation today is typically modeled in rows and columns in a series of tables to make processing and data querying efficient. The data can then be easily accessed, managed, modified, updated, controlled, and organized. Most databases use structured query language for writing and querying data. So it's not that very simple to create a query on databases. You need to have a proper education, but it's also not that it wouldn't take a lot of time to learn. There are many websites that can teach you standard query language, but these queries are actually managed by the applications. When you send a query from an application that's used by law enforcement, then the application sends the query and retrieve the information through the query and download it to your computer. Databases and spreadsheets differ, and they're both convenient ways to store information. The primary differences between the two are how data is stored and manipulated, who can access the data, and how much data can be stored. Spreadsheets were originally designed for one user, and their characteristics reflect that. They are great for a single user or small number of users who don't need to do a lot of incredibly complicated data manipulation. Databases, on the other hand, are designed to hold much larger collections of organized information, massive amounts and massive amounts of data. And databases allow multiple users at the same time to quickly and securely access and query the data using highly complex logic and language. So databases are much more complex, and millions of people can access to databases. And uh, with the use of databases, you can create a much more complex queries along with maybe multiple databases. You can collect information and report, and this is a quite useful technique to utilize the information for cybercrime investigations. Oracle is the most popular database management system worldwide, and MySQL Server and PostgreSQL and many other Um, Databases help people to organize their information and efficiently serve the communities, and especially databases are useful for criminal justice agencies as well. Each local authority maintains its own databases of known criminals, and in New York, there is a center for maintaining this information known as the Real-Time Crime Center. The Real-Time Crime Center is a data warehouse developed and used by the New York Police Department's more than 35,000 police officers to track and apprehend suspected criminals. Police officers even record the nicknames and tattoos of suspects that are arrested and store this information in their databases. Fusion centers across the United States rely on both government databases and commercial data repositories to collect and retrieve personal information. And they facilitate information gathering and dissemination at the federal, state, and local level, and provide intelligence in hopes of both preventing crimes and solving criminal offenses. A tourism liaison officer employed by a fusion center has the primary responsibility to facilitate and coordinate information sharing among numerous agencies. Federal, state, and local information exchange is actually performed or practiced by also with the Intersect database, which is a commercial data broker that at one time it maintained billions of records on virtually on all Americans. Intersect has provided these personal information to fusion centers. DHS is responsible for Homeland Security Information Network, state and local intelligence community interest database, and this is used for disseminating sensitive but non-classified intelligence between federal, state, and local uh, authorities. National Crime Information Center database is an important database utilized by law enforcement nationwide to apprehend fugitives, recover stolen goods, identify terrorists, and locate missing persons. According to the FBI, by the end of 2015, NCIC contained more than 12 million active records and averaged 12.6 million active transactions per year. The database can be used to identify a sex offender, locate a gang member, or find whether a seized gun was stolen. During a routine traffic stop, police can access NCIC to identify any warrants against the driver or see if the car has been reported stolen. Interpol is the most prolific international law enforcement agency that gathers and disseminates intelligence on known and suspected criminals. It maintains international databases on everything from stolen art to suspected terrorists, to lost travel documents, to child abuse victims. So the database is very expensive and brings a lot of information that's in transnational naturally. So in cybercrime investigations, you could benefit from Interpol database frequently. Access to personal data in the European Union is also an important matter as the criminal justice agencies regarding cybercrime investigation frequently collaborates with European Union. The European Union has developed privacy laws that have drastically reduced the amount of personal data that companies can maintain, and may make available to third parties nonetheless. This is in contrast to the United States, where are privacy laws are much more relaxed in terms of personal data collection and storage. Concerted efforts are underway to improve the exchange of personal data between the United States and the European Union, but there are major differences in how information is collected, from airline passenger data to hotel registration information. Actually, online privacy laws, which have already do amount of personal information collected, limit the amount of digital evidence available to investigators. Hackers, in terms of identity theft, do not even need to work out a user's password today, but can simply reset a password by answering challenge questions from the email service provider. For example, a challenge question might be to enter the person's of uh, information regarding where she was born, or to enter her pet's name. The answers to these questions are frequently available from a person's profile on Facebook or similar social networking websites. So, password resetting is a lot easier when an individual delivers her own personal information in detail on Facebook. Credit card theft is a huge problem. The internet has enabled credit card theft to grow, and simply type the word fools into fools on Google, and you can see a list of websites that offer stolen credit card numbers for sale, including the CVV number. Yet so many people believe CVV provides security to the user. It's already available on the internet. That might surprise you. And credit cards have been stolen from individuals because of malware use. Zeus has been very effective in actually providing the credit card information with advanced malware features. Investigators today do not need to view the videos in their entirety to understand their content, especially if the video is particularly graphic and disturbing. Autopsy video triage enables an investigator to view the thumbnail images instead of streaming the video. The investigator can predetermine the interval for creating thumbnails. A cookie is a text file sent from a web server to a client computer, portable of identification and authentication. A persistent cookie is a text file, again, for identifying any internet user that's sent to the browser and then stored on a client's computer. Until the expiration date stored in the cookie is reached, persistent cookies are used to record websites that a user visits and are spyware. So it's basically helpful in the investigation to analyze if the actually user already visited some malicious websites, as well as the websites that is subject to the investigation. A session cookie is basically a text file sent to a browser that's stored on a computer and used to identify and authenticate an internet user. It's removed when the user's browser is closed. Online banks use session cookies to authenticate users during their browser session when requests are made, to prevent man-in-the-middle attacks. If a hacker attempts to take over an online session, the web browser should be able to know that the intruder is impersonating the legitimate user, because the intruder doesn't have a cookie issued by the bank. That's how banks should actually differentiate a live user and differentiate with the actually hacker with the actual user. There are many web browsers, but Google Chrome is one of a distinct web browser. This is the fastest and most used web browser on desktop computers worldwide today. Most digital forensics examiners will likely come across this browser in one of their investigations. Many third-party web browsers are based on Chromium projects like Vivaldi, Yandex, and others. First of all, you need to be able to see the hidden files on your computer, and to show the hidden files, it's very easy actually. Open the File Explorer from the taskbar and select View, Show, and then Hidden Items. Then you're going to be able to see all of your hidden files on your system. In order to access your cookies on your computer, you need to access to the C drive users username app data. Username is the is your username that you are actually signing on your computer, and access to app data, local Google and Chrome user data, and default folder where your cookies are located. And if you have multiple users on your computer, you may also need to access to profile one or two consecutively, depending on uh, the user number of users. But also, it's important to note that you need to actually figure out which user you are actually in from your browser as well. So there are many options for you to investigate, from the bookmarks to top sites to history of the access of the users, and many uh, information is actually available for you to investigate. SQLite is a freely available software that you can actually download it on your computer and access to the cookie files by just dragging the cookie files to the SQLite and see the contents and analyze the information. Thank you all for attending this session. See you on the next session. Thank you.